just watched Arsenal beat Crystal Palace 1-0. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
It's coming back in fashion. Like
Everything comes back
like
in
the
fashion.
old throw-ins.
Yeah.
Big centre forwards.
Yeah.
They're all back.
It's great.
Yeah, I think another narrow victory for them today, but that's what teams do that have the potential to win the league. It doesn't always mean they win the league, but didn't play particularly well against Fulham last week, although they had plenty of possession. Good week though for them, 4-0 during the week. Atletico Madrid today controlled the game for most of it, allowed Mateta very few chances. We scored a hat-trick last week, remember, against Bournemouth. He had no clear-cut chances at all today. Gabriel and Saliba, a bit of help from Calafiori and Timber. They always looked in control, I would say, there, bar for the odd moment early in the match when Saliba got turned. But they didn't play with particular fluency, I'd say, today, Arsenal. Bit of a spell in the second half where they got well on top and shifting the ball out to the left. Trossard was causing problems with Calafiori, a bit of help from Declan Rice. Did nail the second goal, came close a couple of times. But overall, a calm enough victory for them.
And it just seems that when you watch them, there's very little chaos in their games, and you think of how dangerous Palace are in the break, like when they attack, but they just don't get those moments against Arsenal. They just take it out of the game.
Well, it certainly didn't today. They were on the back foot. They were in the shape of a 5-4-1. Looked very composed. That's Palace in the first half until they lost the goal. And one of the very few set pieces Arsenal had, because most of the play was in just around the midfield area, playing across the front of Crystal Palace. But then they won the free kick, and then there was a bit of a problem, and Arsenal get the second ball off the free kick. Wharton probably just lost Eze for a split second, and Eze was able to smash it into the net with that kind of double kick. Very good finish. And it was you're kind of wondering where are Crystal Palace going to go now, because they were so stifled in the front positions, and that proved to be the case. They made the changes too late, in my view. Lerma came on in the middle of the pitch for Wharton. They'd already taken Kamada off, brought Hughes on. But then the other three subs were done so late, they were unlikely to have an impact getting on in the 90th minute when there was 6 minutes injury time.
Yeah, well, obviously Arteta, he's coming up to 6 years at Arsenal, and people say you haven't won the league yet. They won the FA Cup early in his tenure, but 3 second place finishes in a row, and people say, last year, if you couldn't do it last year. And it builds up into the next season, but there does feel like there's something a little bit different, where you mentioned Saliba. He came off at half-time, Mascara comes on, just even the quality of players they're able to bring on. Rice went off, you have a Spanish international, Marino come on, Lewis Skelly comes on, Hincapié makes his Premier League debut. Even if something happened, David Raya, they have Kepa as their sub-keeper. Yeah,
they looked a bit, the squad looks deeper, and that's even, I said, I commented on the bench here before the match, and you look at, even today, there's no Gabriel Jesus, Havertz is still out injured, and Odegaard. Three players who were, if they were fit, you would say they would certainly be on the bench. Madueke also, isn't he? He's another one. So, they're very good, no doubt about it, they've really good depth. What we haven't seen is to go behind the match, and what do they do to turn it around. Will the players they have on the bench be good enough to make an impact when they're behind? What we're seeing at the moment is them controlling games and beating teams that are not as good as them. The earlier games of the season when they play the big teams, they lost to Liverpool in the first game, the draw with Man City, they're the only points to drop. But still only 9 games in, 9 3 is 27, and they've got 22 points. That's a good return, but it doesn't mean that's done and dusted. But given the trouble that Liverpool have suddenly found themselves in, suddenly over a few weeks, Liverpool lost 4 games, Man City dropping a few points as well. It's looking good for Arsenal, but it's 9 games in. It doesn't win you any leagues.
No, and I suppose the Liverpool situation is just crazy to watch, where even the fact that they've beaten Arsenal this season, and everyone thought, they've new players in, but it looks like it's all going well. They lose 4 games in a row in the league, And I think one thing that was noticeable against Brentford was they lacked fight. It looked like they just didn't have the stomach for a game against. We knew what Brentford were going to bring. Arne Slot talked about it in his press conference before the match, where he said, "Yeah, we know what we're going to face," but they couldn't do anything about it.
Well, I wouldn't go along with the lack fight. I don't think anyone goes out on the pitch and they lack fight. I think they're lacking a bit of confidence, and some of the newer players.
Well, they lost a lot of battles.
Well, some of the players that come into the team are struggling for confidence, like Kerkers in the left back position. Frimpong, well, he didn't play yesterday. You know, young Bradley played right back. But Florian Wirtz is the one who's certainly lacking in confidence. Isaac, when he plays, he hasn't played now. He's out injured. And and Salah, I'd say, is even struggling for a bit of confidence until he got that magnificent goal late on, which was the too late to influence the ultimate results. But you know, they're having a bit of bother. But even when they were winning early in the season, they won the first 5 league games, they were losing goals, and they were able to pull it out of the bag and win matches 3-2. They were conceding goals, and that's continued now. They're losing 2 goals almost every game. You know, lost 3 goals yesterday, give away a penalty to make the 3rd goal. They're not solid looking defensively. Goalkeeper is not as good as the goalkeeper they had, and they're just not quite at it around the middle of the pitch. They all look a little bit off, bar Szoboszlai, and in the front positions it's not clicking, and they're having trouble the teams that sit deep, and they found the formula to beat them. So that's all encouragement for Arsenal.
What about
but
City?
You got to do your own stuff, and Arsenal have got a decent number of points. 22 and 27 is a good steady start this season, no doubt about it.
City then would be the other one that I suppose, if you're an Arsenal fan, you look at what City are doing. They've lost to Aston Villa. They've already lost a few games this season. They have Liverpool coming up actually before the international break, and who knows how that goes. But they're obviously not the City they were a few years ago. But there was encouragement with Haaland as having one of those seasons already where he looks like he could carry the fight, but he didn't score today, then they don't win.
Yeah, but I thought they, in recent weeks, have started to look like a team that could go on one of those runs of winning 10, 12, 14 games in a row, but that's proved not to be the case. Doku, great form. Haaland still scoring goals. Now Rodri's out injured. Will Gonzalez be able to recover for him? But signs of Foden getting back into form. But the consistency that we saw in those great seasons when they were winning so frequently is not there, obviously. So again, that gives Arsenal more hope that the 2 of the teams that would possibly provide the biggest contest for them are now not in the consistent form that Arsenal are in.